Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Catch Up Chaos. I know it's been a minute since I've done the last one, but we got about another 20 albums or so to go through. A quick review for the UFC 302 main event from the other night as well. Really solid fight, not much in terms of moveset, I'll admit, but high on emotion and a bit sad when Dustin lost, but god damn, it was a good fight. And it might be in my top 10 there, but that's neither here nor there. Sorry I didn't review it, but we have 20 albums for this, so let's get through them. We begin with the Morbid Saint and their new album Swallowed by Hell. This is a sort of dude bruh style thrash metal crossover thrash with some good hardcore punky sort of influences thrown in. Giving it a B+, I thought it was really solid and a lot of fun. A bit on the dumb side, but had really good riffs and solid performances and some pretty decent production value for this style as well. So yeah, just fun and enjoyable thrash metal, which can exist in some places. Next we have Necro Rich with Swords of Dajjal. This is sort of a death metal sort of thing. There's a lot of metal in this episode, full spoiler for you. Give this one also a B+. I think it does suffer from a lack of coherent lyricism, and there is some decent stuff here and there, but it's saved a lot by its production, its uniqueness with the Eastern influences thrown in. This is a band from France, by the way. But yeah, it's got those elements and some really good performances and some solid enough riffs. If you just want some like sort of vibey-ish death metal, but like on the dark vibe stuff, give this a go. Next is The Obsessed with Gilded Sorrow, more vibey stuff, sort of a vibey doom metal thing. I'm giving this one a B. I thought it had some really solid riffs and a really good focus on that over telling anything in terms of a story, which is a bit of a shame because I feel like there could have been a concept here, but I like the performances. I think it's carried well by that as well as the riff work. I do wish I had more to go off of though, but I think it's solid as it is. Next is Office Dog with Spiel, taking a break from the metal. This is an indie rock project from New Zealand, and you know, people know I like Australian acts, I like New Zealand acts too, even though I don't get to listen to as many of them. I'm gonna give this one an A-. Really liked it, solid riff work, really good lyrical themes, just charming performances, and a nice sort of slow burn pacing, which normally I don't like in my indie rock, but no, this one actually makes it work with some really good payoff to the build-up that it generates, and has some solid production and good work rate as well. Quite enjoyed it. Next is Al Harver with their album Sacrifice, sort of a black gaze sort of thing, which is black metal and shoegaze for those not in the know. Really nicely produced for what it is. I'm giving this one a B. I do think, again, mixed quite well. Performed nicely too. Does drag quite a bit at some points though, which I think is a sort of a minus point from me. Otherwise it would be getting much higher rate than I'm giving it. But still, I think it's solid enough, and I like the unique take that they have on black gaze, which is already itself a unique genre. This band actually kind of mixed that up a little bit. I just wish that they did more in terms of the drag that this album kind of has at points. Next we have Ponte del Diavolo with their new album Fireblaze from the Tomb, which is just a fucking cool name for an album. This is a Spanish sort of doom metal band, and give this one an A+. The only A+ of the episode, by the way. Really solid production, great work rate, a unique sort of concept relating around religion. Love that they use that a lot in the themes and the music and the storytelling. Good performances. Fucking no, pretty much everything about this is really, really goddamn good, and I highly, highly recommend it. Next we have Pouty with their new album Forget About Me, and I think this is just a one-person project. Give this one an A. This is just some really charming and endearing and quite fuzzy-laden pop rock with some fully strong elements that give me a vibe of. Sound performance is really good, production is quite nice, solid relatable themes about relationships. I do wish some of the songs were a bit longer, but that's the only complaint I really have about it. Still really, really goddamn good. Next we have Seeing Stars with their album Behind the Veil of Innocence and Fragility. Sort of metalcore thing, some decent riffs here and there, and I'm pretty sure they're solid performances. I'm only giving this a C because the writing is extremely fucking cliche, and the production is choppy and jank as hell. Not as bad as we'll get to in a few albums, believe me, but yeah, just a lot of things that needed ironing out for such an easy genre to typically nail to. Next we have Centuries with the new album Snow as a Metaphor for Death. Despite that name, and despite the name Centuries not sounding like an alt-rock band, this is an alt-rock album by an alt-rock band. I'm giving this one a B+. I think it's got really solid themes and solid writing as well, and good performances and some good production. It does veer a bit too much into some weird territory that doesn't really fit with the rest of the album, but again, it's saved by everything that's good about it, and there's quite a lot good about it, so I can recommend giving it a shot. Next we have Stuporus, I don't know if I'm saying that right, with their new album Asylum's Lament. Some more black metal here. I'm giving it a B-. It is a debut album, so I will give it the benefit of the doubt for how sort of weird the production is at points. But it's got solid riffs and some good work rate from the people involved too. I think it's solid enough, you know. I just wish that it did have some more stuff in the mixing side mended up, but that's just me. And also the pacing was a bit slow at times as well. Next we have Son of Nothing with Maze. This is some pretty solidly put together black metal stuff. Very bleak in terms of its themes and production at points, but all in all still really solid and leans well enough into itself to get its point across. Good performances as well, and admittedly solid production too. It can also suffer from a bit of padding, but that's completely fine. Next, and I know I'm not saying this name correctly at all, we have Sudestada with their new album Candela. Really unique black metal sort of crust punky stuff. Giving this one an A. Love the themes, love the execution of the style. Very difficult to mix these two. Really good performances as well. And solid production too. I just wish it had more time to cook itself because, god damn, imagine a couple more songs in this thing. But yeah, really fucking solid shit all around. Next we have the Stygian Complex with their new album Suffer With Me. So lowest grade of any album so far this year in either this or Music of the Week, giving this one an E. Really bad production, try-hard lyrics with way too much fucking swearing in them, uninventive riffs, really bad pacing, just a one-note sort of thing to go as fast as possible, and the performances I guess are kind of okay, but no, fucking avoid this one. It's just some really pointless. So I think it's supposed to be deathcore. I'm not really sure, but it doesn't do anything that makes deathcore usually interesting these days. So yeah, scut around this one, or listen to it if you just want a bad time. Next, we have Takeda with The Agony Flame. This is some really well written and conceptualized hard rock with some really good riffs and production. Give this an A. Yeah, really solid in terms of those. Good main performance as well from the lead vocalist, whoever they are. I do think the production undersells it a little bit though, and it actually brings out some nice moments of the album when it needs to. But yeah, just really solid hard rock. I like this. Next we have one of the most unique ones I've covered, I would say, Triple Q with the album Terminally Online. Now this is actually a mashup artist, and I think this is their first album, I could be wrong. I'm giving it a B+. I think it's got really solid mixes of the songs it employs. For example, the Real Slim Shady and the Freddy Fazbear theme might be my favourite. It's so well mixed together. And yeah, good, mostly good pacing. I do wish more could have been done with it. And it does tell the main story quite well too. Next we have, in my opinion, quite an underrated band in British pop punk. We have 2 Year Break with their new album Light It Up. I quite like these guys. I'm giving this one a B. It is their sort of typical dark leaning pop punk with some really nice electronic elements. I do wish they could have done more with it, and I wish there were a couple more songs on the album, but they're also quite charming, you know, and it's a really good style, and it's something that they've always just done quite well. Basically, just listen to more 2 Year Break. They're really good. Next we have, and I know I'm not going to be able to pronounce this correctly, but I'm going to try, Unersprechlich Kulten, which I think means unspeakable Kulten, I don't know, with their new album Haxan Saboth. They're German, in case you couldn't tell. I'm giving this one a B-. I think it was really good, occult-leaning death metal, very spooky. I do think it's a bit repetitive and bit full of itself at times, I would say, but it's got really good performances and some pretty fucking good riffs, some very dark and gloomy riffs. So yeah, beware of that gloom, but I still recommend give this one a spin, for as weird as it can be at times. Next we have Underneath with their new album From the Guts of Gaia, which is a fucking top tier name. Really good deathcore shit, like I was alluding to with the Stygian Complex, but this is actually, yeah, this one gets an A for having really good political themes and really nice environmental themes. Just really good performances, solid, raw, fucking punch you in the face production. I wish some of the songs were a little bit longer though. I do think they suffer from not being terribly long, but fuck, it's got a great closing track, I think, which is the title track. Yeah, just fucking really good deathcore if you want it. And if you do, listen to it. It's good. Next we have Upon Stone with Dead Mother Moon. Giving this one an A as well. Really fucking solidly put together death metal. Love the guitar work on it, love the performances. Production's really fucking good too, and some of the writing's nice. I don't mind the pacing either, I just find it weird that the album ends with a cover song. But, you know, fuck it, you do you. Everything else about the album is still really solid, though. And finally, we have Venues with Transients. I thought this was some pretty solidly put together metalcore. I'm giving it a B+. I think the vocalists, because I think there's a clean one and a screamy one, have solid chemistry. I liked a lot of the rest. I like the production. It doesn't really do a lot to make an identity for the band, but I think it's personally some really solidly put together metalcore. that'll about do it from me. Next thing you'll see for will probably be Thursday for another episode of Music of the Week. As always, I'm not going to do a ranking system of these albums, but yeah, curse spin all of them. And I'll see you on Thursday, and then Friday for Heat of the Moment. So, yeah, I'll see you all for those. And as always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye-bye.